Hey everybody, welcome to No Bones About Wrestling. I'm your host Asa, and I'm here with Kay Fabulous.
Hey.
And this is your AEW Dynamite wrap-up for July 26, 2023. The show was live in Albany, New York. And let's get right to it. The show opens with a history video. The history between Darby Allin and A.R. Fox. So essentially, someone told, Darby Allin was trying to get into pro wrestling. Someone told Darby to go to Atlanta, check out A.R. Fox, and he did. And Darby was sleeping in his car and going to wrestling classes, and somehow, A.R. Fox got wind of this, heard about how Darby was sleeping in his car, and told him, dude, that's ridiculous. Come and live with me for free. And he did. And so that's their history. And because of this history, Darby Allin requested that Orange Cassidy give A.R. Fox a shot at the international title tonight. And that is why A.R. Fox is facing off with Orange Cassidy in our opener for the international title. And we'll get right to it. Orange Cassidy has set a record for the most successful defenses by a title holder in AEW. 26 defenses.
That's cool.
Pretty impressive. So this one, Fox prevents Cassidy putting his hands in his pockets. Nice reversals by Orange Cassidy, but A.R. Fox gets him in a body scissors. Kind of controls him. Cassidy eventually, he gets his hands in his pockets, like he always does. Then there's a flurry of offense by Cassidy. Flurry of him jumping around, hitting kicks and jumping over A.R. Fox like he does with his hands in his pockets. A.R. Fox backflips off of the turnbuckle post onto Cassidy. We get a stun dog millionaire by Cassidy. A twisting brainbuster by A.R. Fox, pretty sweet move. Diamond cutter from A.R. Fox. At one point, A.R. Fox skins the cat, meaning that's a word for when you pull yourself, when you're almost outside of the ring, when you're almost standing outside the ring, and you pull yourself back into the ring by using the ropes. A.R. Fox skins the cat and then kicks Cassidy, who is down in the corner. Very impressive show of strength there by A.R. Fox. Show of arm and core strength there by Fox. The two men exchange several big boots, including a simultaneous big boots to the face. At one point, they hit simultaneous neck breakers. The two men thinking very similar thoughts on their offense here this evening. A.R. Fox with a flying senton to the outside. Senton inside the ring for a 2.99 count. Orange Cassidy hits an around-the-world DDT, then a beach break by Cassidy. 2 count there. A.R. Fox hits one of his signature moves, the low main pain, which is essentially a flatliner from the middle rope. A.R. Fox dodges a clothesline, thinks about a kip-up, and Cassidy grabs him in the mousetrap for the 1, 2, 3. Nobody has escaped that mousetrap that Cassidy has. So Cassidy retains. That's 27 defenses by Cassidy. He is still the international champion. This was an excellent opener. A terrific match. I give it 4.5 bones out of 5. Just great. And before we get into what happened after the match, what do you have to say about this match, Kay?
Well, one thing I want to point out is what happened before the match. So before the match starts, AR Fox extends his hand and kind of insists on a handshake with Orange Cassidy before the start of the match.
Mm-hmm.
I figured that was worth pointing out, considering what happens after the match, which we'll get to. Great body scissors by Fox. And Cassidy was still able to get his hands into his pockets and then sort of slide out. Like, he kind of like slithered out of that into a kip up. It was very impressive. I also noted that the crowd was chanting for Fox. I expected most people, if not everyone, to be going for Cassidy here, and that was not the case.
Yeah.
There was a great diamond cutter and twisting brainbuster by Fox.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was a brutal DDT by Cassidy that was so brutal that I believe it was Taz that noted that he stuck him like a dart, which I felt like was a very accurate description of the visual. But yeah, overall, great match. Wonderful way to start the show.
Okay. So after the match, Cassidy, like I said, he puts on the mousetrap. He's got the win. He's bettered AR Fox. And Cassidy gives AR Fox a pair of aviator sunglasses. And, he does his bit with the thumbs up and all that. But AR Fox takes the sunglasses and breaks them. And then he punches Cassidy. So he is not, everything's kosher, everything's cool and laid back. He is not with that vibe, not at all. Darby Allin comes running out, questioning AR Fox, being like, man, what the fuck? I got you this title match and you're going to act, uncool like this, afterwards? What the fuck is with you? John Moxley then comes running out. Gives Orange Cassidy a Death Rider DDT in revenge for Rampage. What transpired between Cassidy and the Blackpool Combat Club. So there's a whole lot happening here post-match. But yeah, AR Fox just a surprising move. He's always kind of a laid-back face,
Mm-hmm.
And he was not laid back here. He's aggressive and not showing much appreciation for the title match,
Yeah, he's kind of known as like a mentor and like taking the younger guys under his wing, and so this sudden heel turn seems like it's out of nowhere,
Yeah. Up next we had a Blood and Guts recap video. Last week was the big Blood and Guts match where the Golden Elite beat the Blackpool Combat Club. And it's strange, this week the Golden Elite nowhere on the show. No Young Bucks, no Kenny Omega, no Ibushi. Who am I leaving out?
Adam Page? Did you say Adam
No
Page?
Adam Page, no one. But the Blackpool Combat Club are all over the show.
Mm-hmm. I didn't really notice their absence.
Really?
Without you pointing it out, yeah.
Oh, I did. But yeah, good little recap video. Up next, Renee Paquette is with Chris Jericho and Don Callis. Callis says he's set up a tag team match for Chris Jericho and Konosuke Takeshita against Daniel Garcia and Sammy Guevara. And first, Chris Jericho seems, sort of taken aback by this tag team match being against two members of the Jericho Appreciation Society, if they still are. It seems like it's dissolving. But at first he seems against it, and then Callis sort of talks him into it.
Mm-hmm.
And was this where Callis presented him with the...
Yes, yeah.
So Callis also presents Jericho with a painting of himself and Chris Jericho as, quote, gods at play, so they're like, shirtless with godlike physiques and in leather pants, basically, on it. And their friend, what was his name?
I'm not sure.
Their friend from this Canadian, from that clip that they showed.
From like 1998.
Yeah, from however long ago. He's watching over them in the painting.
Like from heaven.
Yeah, like from heaven. And Chris Jericho's like, what am I going to do with this,
And it's done like in a Renaissance painting style.
Right.
Yeah. If you know when Takeshita comes out, the painting of Takeshita and Don Callis as centaurs that it's displayed on the Titantron, it is very similar style to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so did they say when that match is taking place?
They announced it later. You wrote it down.
Oh, okay. I wrote it down. Yeah. All right. We then get a short little video of Hook. Very, very short. Hook comes and he sits down on a bench in the subway, and presumably the New York subway. And he sets down the FTW title belt beside him, which technically he no longer has, or not technically, he no longer has, but whatever. He sets the FTW title belt beside him. A subway train passes and the belt disappears. Another subway train passes going the opposite direction, and Hook disappears. So maybe it's supposed to be some sort of metaphor.
It has to be some sort of metaphor. I was going to ask you what was up with it. You're the English student. I thought maybe you would have something for me here.
I think someone thought they were being deep, and it was just pointless.
Okay.
Essentially,
Yeah.
And like I said, it also didn't make any sense because Hook didn't have the belt anymore.
Well, I think it was to illustrate the loss of the belt.
I get it. I understand, but
yeah,
he didn't have the title, so.
It would have made more sense if before he lost the title, they showed us shots of him sitting on the subway with the title.
Exactly.
It's like they had this what they thought was a good idea, but they had it too late.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, let's do it anyway.
Yeah, and then so, okay, so he doesn't have the belt anymore. And it was just what was it a metaphor for? Just his career going in a different direction now, The title belt went one way, he's going a different way. So maybe saying he's not going to pursue Jack Perry. He's going a different direction.
Well, that wasn't clear, but that's a really good call. I bet that's what it was, and I'm just like, dense.
Yeah, he's going a different direction. He's not going to pursue getting the belt back.
I don't know that I noticed that the other train was going the opposite direction.
Yeah.
I think they expect too much of their viewers, at least of me.
So I think that's what it means.
No, that's a good call. That's a really good call.
So
thank you for explaining that to me.
You're welcome.
Went over my head. I was like, this doesn't make any sense, but at least it's short.
No, I think that's what it means.
Yeah.
Up next, Ring of Honor World Champion Claudio Castagnoli is with Wheeler Yuta in the locker room area. Castagnoli warns Pac that the beatings he received at Blood and Guts and Ring of Honor Death Before Dishonor pay-per-view were just the start if he thinks he's going to get over on the Blackpool Combat Club. Moxley shows up, and he warns the Best Friends and the Lucha Brothers that they'll pay for Pac's mistake. At the end of the Ring of Honor World title match on the pay-per-view Death Before Dishonor, they aided Pac, the Lucha Brothers did, and the Best Friends. That was if you missed it last weekend, it was an excellent pay-per-view. Ring of Honor, Death Before Dishonor. Half of it was thrown together at the last minute, but they put. It had several 5-bone matches, 2 5-bone matches, if I remember correctly, several 4-bone matches, and it was really just a great show.
I want to add that even though a lot of it was thrown together at the last minute, it did not feel thrown together.
Correct. Yeah, it didn't feel thrown together at all.
No, it felt very well planned.
Up next, FTW champion Jack Perry is with Tony Schiavone. He says that Hook went home when he lost. Perry then says that the FTW title was worthless until he won it. And he starts talking about ECW, which is where where Taz was working when he invented the FTW title. And Jack Perry calls ECW second rate and starts running it down. And Jerry Lynn, who works at AEW as a agent, a road agent, a match agent, Jerry Lynn comes out and tells Perry that he'll get his ass kicked if he keeps running his mouth. And Perry tells Jerry Lynn that he'll fight him next week. He says he's not in his clothes, he's not dressed to fight, but he'll fight him next week. So I don't know if we're going to have a match, Jack Perry and Jerry Lynn, or we're just going to have a fight, or what.
Well, the video package, because they do like the upcoming matches before the main event every week.
Mm-hmm.
It said face to face. So that leads me to believe that it's more talking rather than a match. But they made it sound like when they were talking in the ring today that it was going to be a match, right?
It sounded like it was going to be a match to me. My secret hope is that Jerry Lynn is going to bring Rob Van Dam, and we're going to see Rob Van Dam kick his ass,
I think that's everyone's secret hope.
Yeah. Is that Rob Van Dam is going to show, and he's going to be like, I got on the phone with a buddy of mine, and yeah.
Oh, especially for the 200th episode of Dynamite, because that's when this talk face-to-face is happening. Surprise Rob Van Dam. Oh my God. I didn't even think about that when I was talking about Rob Van Dam earlier. That would be awesome.
Yeah. But we'll see. I mean, Jerry Lynn in a match would be sweet too. I mean, Jerry Lynn was a fantastic wrestler. I mean, he was great. I mean, not to take anything away from him. Rob Van Dam was better, but Jerry Lynn was just below Rob Van Dam. I mean, I'm not trying to take anything away from Jerry Lynn. He was excellent. He was one of the best in the world. Also.
Yeah, but Rob Van Dam was one of your favorites.
Yeah,
is one of your favorites.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So who knows? We'll see how that goes. How that shakes out. Renee Paquette. I promise there are matches on this show. They just have several interviews here. Renee Paquette is with Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. And Baker says if she wants to swim... Oh, I'm sorry. Britt Baker's cutting a promo on... what's her name?
Taya Valkyrie.
Thank you, Taya Valkyrie. And she says if she wants to swim with the sharks, she'll drag her ass to the deep end. And before that, she says she truly does respect and admire her. So yeah, it sounds like it, right? So it was an odd...
You don't try and drown the people you admire?
It was an odd promo, I thought. Yeah. She didn't have much to say, really.
Yeah.
And now we have a match. Pac of the reunited Death Triangle takes on Gravity, the Lucha sensation who was at Ring of Honor Death Before Dishonor. He was in the match of the night against Commander, one of the 5-bone matches at the show. Nice drop kick to start by Gravity, and another after springboarding back into the ring after being outside. They head back to the outside, and Pac comes running at Gravity. Gravity power slams Pac right on the arena floor. Gravity then handstands up to bounce off the ring ropes and come back down on Pac with a splash. I had never seen what he did before. I'd never seen it. Gravity then goes back into the ring while Pac is lying on the arena floor and starts walking and pretending that he's walking on the moon.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Like walking in slow motion, as though there's less gravity. Or is that zero gravity? No, there's just less gravity on the moon.
Yes,
right.
Yeah.
Walking as though there's less gravity. And that was pretty funny. Gravity came out also. He came out in a it's like a NASA kind of flight suit deal, but instead of NASA, it has like the Mexican flag and things like that on it. It was pretty cool. So yeah, he walks as though he's on the moon surface. I got a kick out of that. The Blackpool Combat Club are shown watching on a monitor in the back. I'm sure they didn't like that. Gravity with a floating crossbody splash. I mean, he comes off the top and floats in the air for so long that he has time to turn while he's in the air. That's why I call it a floating, because that's what he seemed to be floating. It was really neat the way he did it. But a floating crossbody splash for a 2 count. Pac then hits 3 thrust kicks and then a running kick on Gravity, taking control back of the match. An avalanche brainbuster by Pac. Then he puts Gravity in the brutalizer. Gravity taps out. Pac wins. I give this match 3.5 bones out of 5. The only reason it's not more is because it was very short. I couldn't give it more than that. It was a very short match. I didn't feel like it deserved any more. I felt 3.5 with the length of the match. 3.5 was about as much as it could earn in the time of the match.
Really, I don't think I've ever heard you lower a bone rating due to time allowed.
Yeah, I mean it's not something I would say a lot. Happens a lot,
Yeah.
Because most of the time, if people are gonna be this good, they give them time. Because I mean, everything that they did was really excellent,
Yeah.
But it wasn't for very long, So, like I said, 3.5 bones out of 5.
That makes me sad for the wrestlers because, like, it's not their fault,
Well, I'm sure they don't care about my bone rating, so that's the good news. That's the good news.
They might care.
It doesn't matter.
Might care.
The good news is it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So what do you have to say about that match?
So I was going to note the flight suit, but since you already did that, I'm going to note, they mentioned that this is Bandito's brother, Gravity.
Right.
That's pretty cool. I don't know if it's his real life brother or his work brother, but, I thought that was awesome. They said that he started with going into professional soccer, originally, but then decided to make a career change into professional wrestling. So I thought that was just some interesting background. This was his AEW Dynamite debut. And it was a great debut.
Yeah, I'm a fan. I've only seen 2 matches, but I'm a fan of Gravity.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Me too. And awesome name. Like, that's so brilliant. In Ring of Honor, they referred to him as the man that Gravity forgot, I believe.
No, that was Pac.
That was Pac?
In WWE. Wow, I don't usually do that. They referred to Pac when he was Neville as the man Gravity forgot.
Oh, okay. I thought they were referring to Gravity. I apologize.
No.
So there was a scoop power slam by Gravity on the outside. That was really awesome. And then you mentioned the splash that Gravity did off of the apron onto the outside. One thing that I feel like is worth noting, which the announcers noted, is that when he did that splash, he put his arms straight down by his side, which in Mexico, that's a sign that you're fearless. And I thought that was cool. I didn't know that about lucha splashes, that if you have your arms down by your side, that's what it means.
Means you're fearless, because then you're not like correcting your fall, you're not softening your landing.
Yeah, you're just taking it.
You're just you're falling how you fall.
That's awesome. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah.
And then I love the slow motion running. You covered like you said, it was a short match. It was full of awesome things.
Full of highlights.
Yeah.
In the short time that they had. I mean, Gravity is a star, instantly. And I hope that they... Is he... I mean, is he AEW? Is he Ring of Honor? Do we know which he is?
I don't know.
He's a star in 2 matches, but I mean, they didn't treat him like a star in this match.
Yeah.
He got beat. He gave up very quickly.
Yeah, but it's also not Neville. What's his name? Pac. So I don't know. I think it was a good. They did a good job highlighting him in the match. It wasn't. I feel like Pac helped put him over. I don't think that this was a squash job. I mean.
Yeah. No.
I mean, it would have been nice for him to get a win or at least a longer match for his debut match. But if people don't know him, I could see them not giving him a lengthy debut,
Mm-hmm.
Especially with all the other stuff they had going on this week. What would you have cut down on to give them more time?
Some of the interviews could have been trimmed.
Yeah.
To give this match more time. And, some of the interviews should have been trimmed to give this match more time.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Speaking of interviews.
Yeah, speaking of interviews, we saw another interview, and world champion MJF and Adam Cole, the winners of the Blind Draw Tag Team Tournament, #1 contenders for the tag team belts. They were with Renee Paquette last week after Dynamite went off the air. And MJF says he liked FTR a lot better when they were his lackeys. Of course, he's referring to their time in the Pinnacle, which was a very a failed faction, I think we can call it. Mm-hmm. They were together a very short time. It went nowhere. They did nothing. It seemed to go nowhere. I mean, I'm not sure what happened with it, but they put 9 guys together in a faction, and MJF was the leader, and then the guys never appeared together, and then a month later or so, it was all over.
Is that what put Tully Blanchard with FTR, or were they already together when they joined the Pinnacle? Do you remember?
I don't recall, but Tully Blanchard was with FTR in the Pinnacle, yeah. But yeah, I don't remember if that's what put him with them. Yeah. MJF says he's going to hit Dax so hard he'll have to spit out CM Punk's jockstrap. I thought that was fucking funny. I mean, I like CM Punk, I like Dax, but that's still funny. Adam Cole says he never thought he'd be friends with MJF. And MJF says, you know what? I'm going to give you a rematch for the world title. And Adam Cole's like, what? Really?
I was like, what, really? Can you believe that?
Yeah.
Isn't that shocking?
It's a little surprising.
It's not a little surprising. That is shocking.
So, MJF is giving him the rematch. And, you can only think it has to be happening at All In.
Yeah.
Which another surprise, I'll tell you, they didn't book All In. This show was July 26th. All In is August 27th. They didn't book one match for All In. Not one fucking match. And it's in 31 days. They need to... 31 may be pushing a little. Okay, I get it. But they definitely on Rampage, or I guess not Rampage, on Collision this week, they need to get on booking some matches. They better have something booked by the end of Collision this week. They better have some one or two matches booked and get the hype train started. Because we're coming up on, right now we're at 30 days. Excuse me. 27, 4. Right now we're at 31 days as of today. 31 days until All In. 80,000 or something tickets sold. 0 matches. So let's get some matches on there. I mean,
I think they might be waiting to announce the first set of matches for the 200th episode of Dynamite.
Yeah, well, let's get the main event booked. We're 31 days out. Let's get the fucking main event. This is a big show. Let's get the goddamn main event booked and build the show around this shit.
Yeah.
Let's get the hype train going. You know, MJF. Okay, he's the world champ. Who's he going to defend against? Let's build this show. Let's get it going.
Yeah.
It's a big-ass show.
It is.
Let's get it going. Anyway, so he says he's giving Cole a rematch for the world title, but it doesn't go very far. They don't talk about when or anything. Cole's just like, really? Yeah. Roderick Strong comes in and butts in, and he tries to warn Adam Cole about MJF, and Adam Cole pretty much tells him off, and he's like, dude, you know, what are you even doing here? Mm-hmm. And he's like, he says boundaries, and then MJF and Adam Cole. Well, MJF leaves first, I think.
Mm-hmm. He does.
And then Adam Cole, is telling Roderick Strong this and that, and saying, "Dude, what are you doing here?" And this, he's like, "I'm friends with them," and this and that. And then he says boundaries, and then Cole leaves, and Roderick Strong says, "You're making a big mistake, dude."
Do you think he's right?
I think we all know he's right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, don't you think MJF is turning on Adam Cole?
Oh yeah, no, I think he definitely is. Eventually, well, I thought he definitely was, but then this title shot has me like thrown for a complete loop. Like I cannot believe that MJF, who has fought tooth and nail since he got the title to try and ensure that no one was gonna fight him for it. Think of all the lengths that he went to with Daniel Bryan to try and avoid having
Bryan Danielson.
Oh, sorry, Bryan Danielson. Sorry, to try and avoid having to face him.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy that all of a sudden, are they actually friends? Is he actually It's so surprising. I'm shocked.
Yeah. Yeah, that is a surprising twist to the story, that MJF is giving out a title shot.
It's shocking.
They would be wise to go ahead and say All In.
Yeah.
I mean,
do you think? And
I'm going to start sounding like a broken record.
Yeah.
Because they really need to book some matches for that show.
Do you think they're going to carry let's say it is at All In, right? And are they going to carry the friendship through that and have them? MJF is still a heel. Adam Cole is still a face. But they're friends fighting each other?
I wouldn't. I would have them break up before then. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't have them break up like this week or next week, but I would have them before the pay-per-view. Yeah, something happens. Like a week before the pay-per-view, have it hot.
Mm-hmm.
Week 10 days before the pay-per-view,
So the sting is
week
still
and a
there.
half. Yeah, something like that. Week and a half, so you have enough time to kind of build up on TV. Yeah. But yeah, break them up, and like I said, don't break them up just yet, because the fans are, and speaking as a fan, the fans are really into it still, really into this tag team, and their skits or whatever you want to call them.
Mm-hmm.
Their segments, but you still need to break them up before the pay-per-view. So just, I think, like I said, 10 days before the pay-per-view is good. Is a good time. Then you can have 3 shows, 2 or 3 shows with them as enemies. To really get it going.
Mm-hmm.
You already have it building that they're facing each other, and then you got them just liking each other for a couple shows to build it. That's the way I see it. That's the way I would do it if I were running things. That's the way I would do it. So you get the most out of both things. You get the most mileage out of them as face tag team. And as heated opponents.
Do you give them the belts? The tag belts?
Yeah, I told you. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
I missed
They
that
should
part.
win the
Okay,
tag team titles, no
Yeah.
doubt. Yeah, they should win the tag team titles. And then, of course, fight over them. They don't. They end up not being able to defend them, then refusing to defend them, and then we'll have a tag team tournament. They'll be vacated, which isn't something you want to do too much with your belts because it diminishes their value a little. But they'll be vacated, and we'll do a tag team title tournament.
I don't care for that. Why don't you just have them losing the tag titles be the cause for their breakup, like the final straw?
Yeah, you could do that too.
Much rather have them do that than vacate the titles.
You could do that too.
They've had too many interim vacated title stuff already.
Yeah, I hear you. You could do that too. I guess having them lose the titles would be okay.
I would say
I just see. Yeah, having them lose the titles would be okay.
I would save the frequency of vacating the titles in case people get injured.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to build it into your storyline.
I just didn't
and then
want
have
them.
It an actual injury and it needs to be vacated, and now you're doing it twice in a row. Or something.
I just didn't want the team losing, really.
Yeah, I just feel like that could be what causes them to split. I mean, I feel like that's the easy way out, but I feel like it's better than vacating the titles.
So I think they beat FTR for the titles, and then FTR wins them back from them. Yeah.
You don't think that the number one contender from Rampage is going to win it from them? Because this upcoming week on Rampage, we have a number one contender battle royal.
Oh, I don't care what happens on that. I'm talking about my plans.
I know, but I'm saying you don't think that whoever wins that is going to be who takes it from Adam Cole and MJF? You think FTR is going to take it?
I'm talking about my plans. MJF and Cole would win the belts and would then keep them. And I'm going to change. I would say lose them to Juice Robinson and Jay White instead of FTR. Yeah.
So they'd lose them to heels.
Yes. Yeah. Because they'd be faces still.
Yeah.
I'm going to change and say lose them to the Bullet Club Gold. Because those guys, they could use belts to stand out.
Yeah.
And they deserve them. They should have won them from FTR, I thought, in that 2 out of 3 falls match that they had. They should have won them then.
That match was so good.
That match was awesome. Anyways, that's enough fantasy booking, but I'm repeating myself from a couple shows ago. Up next, we had Swerve Strickland with Prince Nana versus Darby Allin with Nick Wayne. Darby begins the match with a long headlock. He had this headlock on for over a minute. He did a headlock takeover, in fact, and kept the headlock applied. Then eventually it got broken as a bouncing off the top rope arm drag by Darby. Outside the ring, Darby hit a code red, very brutal looking. Swerve runs. They had set up the ring steps. I forget who set them up to do a move. Darby did. Swerve runs, jumps off the ring. This is on the outside of the ring. Swerve runs, jumps off the ring steps, and kicks Darby Allin right in the side of his head.
That was a beautiful kick.
It was a good looking kick. Back inside the ring, Darby is seated in the ring. Swerve with an elbow drop right to the back of Darby's head. Pin attempt gets 2 count. There are several back and forth pinfall attempts at this point, all for 2 counts. Then Darby Allin spears Swerve going through the ropes to the arena floor. Just throw, the way Darby Allin is. He just throws his entire body weight at Swerve. Just no protection, no thought for his safety. Just all of his body weight at Swerve. It looked tough, and that's what he has to do given his size. He has to give things his all to make them look tough, Swerve, back in the ring, Swerve with a swerve stomp on Darby. Only gets a 2 count off of it. Then Darby Allin hits a stunner from the top rope. Swerve gets Darby on the outside of the ring, on the ring apron, and from the top rope hits a super fireman's carry slam onto the apron. Darby Allin's spine just cracking right on the apron. I've never seen that before.
Yeah, it was brutal.
The way they did it, I'd never seen it before. And so now out comes A.R. Fox from earlier. He comes out and he starts beating on Darby Allin outside of the ring. Back in the ring, Swerve hits the JML driver and gets the pin for 1, 2, 3. Gets the pin and the win. Good match. 4 bones out of 5. Very, very good match for these two. Both men always give it their best, so no surprise. 4 bones out of 5 match. After the match, before we go to after the match, Kay, what do you have to say about this one?
You covered most of the stuff that I wrote down. There was really good grappling wrestling to start, and then it went into a series of cool reversals from both men, utilizing the ropes to do the reversals in moves that I don't know what they're called, because I had never seen them before.
They did that one where Allin Irish whipped Swerve, and he grabbed the top and middle ropes and backflipped himself over. I love that move he does.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Looks like he's in the Matrix,
Yeah, I guess it does. I don't know, there was so much happening. There was a ton of near falls. Swerve got a swerve stomp for a 2 count. And then I feel like the highlight of the match was that super fireman's carry slam.
Oh, yeah, definitely. That was brutal.
It just looked...
Jesus Christ.
Like, it's the kind of move where, like, you physically hurt watching it happen to another human.
I can't... if people know me, they know I've had back surgery, back problems. I can't stand to see things happen to people's backs. Like, it hurts. Yeah. It hurts me. It makes me physically hurt. It's like sometimes actually makes me physically hurt.
Yeah. And this was one of those moves, I
bad.
think.
It was bad.
Yeah. It was like spine directly to like the edge of the apron.
Yeah. I don't even like to think about it.
Yeah.
Like, oof.
Yeah. If you didn't watch this match, at least look for that highlight, because that move was crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy. Like, it was crazy to try. I don't know how Darby Allin has gone through all of his matches and the things he does and the bumps he takes and hasn't gotten seriously injured yet.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how. I mean, I really don't. Just lucky, because he does some crazy shit.
I kind of think, you know how, like, in car accidents, a lot of times the drunk driver survives because they don't tense their body because they're drunk,
Uh-huh.
I think it's... No, this connects. Don't look at me like that. So I think it speaks to, like, the fearlessness of Darby, where, like, he's not throwing his whole body into someone and, like, flinching as he does it, knowing that it's going to hurt. He just throws it. And so, like, I don't feel like he's, like, not tensing those muscles that can lead to injury. I have no medical background on saying any of this, but I think it's logical, like if being limp is what helps drunk drivers survive body trauma, I would assume the same goes for fearless actions rather than like tensing and cringing as you do moves,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good point. I hope he stays injury free for a long time.
Yeah. He's got, he's lucky. He's a lucky bastard, I'll tell you that. After the match, Nick Wayne, the 18-year-old phenom, attacks Swerve. A.R. Fox grabs Darby's skateboard and blasts Nick Wayne with it. And
that's because they were attacking Darby. Nick Wayne wasn't attacking them for no reason.
I didn't say he was attacking them for no reason.
I know, but you didn't say the reason he was attacking them. You just said that he started attacking them. I want them to know that Nick Wayne wasn't being a bad guy.
Okay.
He was helping his friend Darby, who was getting beaten up after the
they were beating up Darby. Okay, I guess that wasn't clear.
Yeah.
Swerve and AR Fox were beating up Darby. Nick Wayne helps Darby. Is that better?
Yes, yeah.
And AR Fox grabs a skateboard, hits Nick Wayne with it. Nick Wayne is pretty much out at that point. And AR Fox is the newest member of the Mogul Embassy.
It's official. He got a t-shirt.
It's official, yeah. So we've got Swerve Strickland, AR Fox, Prince Nana, obviously, Brian Cage, Toa, and Khan. So 6 members now. And I think it's going to grow. I feel
like Big Bill with a question mark after his name.
I think Big Bill may be joining. I think he should join.
I think he should join too. Oh my god, just like a big army of monsters. And then you got like 2 little high-flying guys with him, you know?
I think he should join.
I love the Mogul Embassy. I know you don't care for their name, but I love their name. I think it's great. I think they're great.
Yeah, I don't care for the name at all. But I do like the stable.
What was it before? Mogul, like, Enterprises or something? Mogul...
Was it Mogul Affiliates?
Yes, yeah.
Something like
Mogul
that?
Embassy is way better than Mogul Affiliates.
Yeah, but it's Mogul Embassy.
Yeah, no, I like it.
I don't like it.
Well, I love that AR Fox joined, and I hope they grow infinitely. I was telling Asa when we were watching the match that, like, this is a faction that I would love to see, like, eventually, like, almost every heel in the roster join. Just, like, a giant faction of bad dudes looking to do bad things to good people, you know?
Mm-hmm.
What do we got next?
Up next, Renee Paquette is with the remnants of the Jericho Appreciation Society. Angelo Parker says he thinks the JAS means the world to him, but he's unsure where Chris Jericho stands on it. Ty Mello agrees. Matt Menard and Anna JAS are there also, but they don't say anything. So the Jericho Appreciation Society, we got Chris Jericho, who is still the leader. We have Anna JAS, Matt Menard, Angelo Parker, Ty Mello, who are all still in it. And then on the periphery, you have Daniel Garcia. Well, first, you have Jake Hager, who turned in his hat. So we'll say he's out.
Yeah, he's out, yeah.
Turned in his hat and hasn't been seen. So I don't know what his deal is. Hasn't been seen since he turned in his hat to Jericho.
Yeah, he was on the Royal Rampage.
Excuse me. Okay, excuse me. Hasn't been seen much.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have Parker, Menard, Anna JAS, Ty Mello, and then on the periphery we have Daniel Garcia and Sammy Guevara, which we're not sure where they stand in the blind draw tag team tournament. When they lost, Chris Jericho came to the top of the ramp to greet them and tell them, you know, he came not to critique them, but really to greet them with open arms and be like, guys, it's all right, don't worry about it. But they just walked right by him, gave him the total cold shoulder, and that was a sign there that they may be done. It hasn't been made official yet, but it may be soon, because now we have this matchup coming with Chris Jericho and Konosuke Takeshita taking on Guevara and Garcia. So the JAS is in shambles. So it's sad, but, you know, from one ending comes another beginning. So I'm not sure if Jericho is going to join Don Callis' family. It seems as though he is.
Well, we saw in this little interview thing, because they went into a dressing room area, we see that Jericho has hung the painting. So I feel like that's a sign, you know? If someone gives you a gift you have no interest in and you don't like that person, you generally don't display it in your home or work area.
So I guess Jericho will join. I don't know. It seems like he's, you know, it seems like he's going to swerve him or something.
I think Jericho is going to join the family and then take over the family.
Exactly, right.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Yeah, eventually. Not immediately. Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see. We got Jericho, Takeshita, and I'm sure it will grow as well.
Can you imagine the eventual Jericho versus Don Callis storylines and all the good talking we're going to get out of it? I'm not normally a fan of the talking parts of wrestling shows, but I feel like that would be fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I prefer... Well, I like it in the 80s and the 90s. I prefer those kind of promos. When they weren't more reasonable. They weren't like reasonable. They weren't acting like reasonable people. They were acting like they were going to kick your ass, you know. I'm going to beat you. I'm going to rip out your liver and I'm going to send it and mail it to your wife in a box. What do you think about that there? Ah.
Like that?
Like that.
Yeah.
I like those kind of promos, you know.
I
prefer that over today's more reasoned, well, I didn't like it when you did this to me, so we're going to have a match now. I don't like that as much as you know, guys just wanting to beat each other's ass, you know, and being just like totally out there. You know, the Ric Flairs, the Dusty Rhodes of the past, the Hulk Hogan, you know, where they're just larger than life, you know, where everybody was trying to be larger than Randy Savage. Your best promo men were larger than life, and we're missing those characters now. And people aren't doing that kind of style of promo, and I miss it. But whatever. I'm getting way off on it.
Yes, you are.
Up next, we had a recap of Billy Gunn seemingly retiring on Collision. Of course, he and the Acclaimed had a World Trios title shot against the House of Black. They got their asses beat pretty quickly. Billy Gunn took the pinfall, and then Malachi Black said something to him, and then Billy Gunn started taking off his boots, and then he left his boots right there in the ring, which is generally a sign that someone's retiring.
Do you think Malachi Black used his devil magic to hoodwink Billy Gunn into retiring?
No, I think it may have been it's one or two things. It's either a shoot and then Billy Gunn actually was retiring, and Malachi Black was saying, you know, thanks for letting me be your final match. Or two, it was a work shoot, meaning they're trying to make it look real to us and make us think Malachi Black said, thanks for letting me be in your final match. One of those two things. I don't think devil magic.
Not the devil magic option?
No. So we'll see where that goes. Up next, we had, of course, the one woman's match. You know, as you know, AEW, we only get one woman's match. And this show, it was Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, versus Taya Valkyrie. I am not with this Taya Valkyrie, and she gets featured a lot. She's in the one women's match pretty frequently lately.
Yeah.
And she's not good.
No.
She is not good. Early on, Baker grabs a headlock and hangs on, just like in the Darby Allin match earlier. Very strange. I mean, they both grabbed headlocks for like the first 2 minutes of the match almost, or say a minute and a half. Grab a headlock, and then Taya Valkyrie does a move, and they botch it. I'm not sure who messed up, but they botched it. Britt Baker falls early, before Valkyrie's executed the move. Blue Thunder Bomb by Valkyrie that was not botched. It actually looked very good. Baker with the ripcord elbow. Pin. 2 count. Northern Lights suplex by Valkyrie. Nice looking. 2 count only. Panama Sunrise. Britt Baker hits her boyfriend's finisher. Only gets a 2 count out of that one. And Valkyrie going for a move on Britt Baker. Baker grabs her arm and forces her down. Puts her in the lockjaw very quickly. Valkyrie taps out. And Dr. Britt Baker is your winner by submission. The match started off, they were not on the same page, and it wasn't good. The second half of the match was actually okay. It was pretty decent. They picked it up. But the first half of the match was dog shit. So I'm giving it 2 bones out of 5, because there were some botches, and there were a couple missed kicks. There were a couple kicks that missed very clearly, that missed the head area by both women. Missed by inches. Several botch moves in this match early on. It was not good. I'm not sure whose fault it was, who was off, but I will say Taya Valkyrie seems to be the common denominator in a lot of these matches where we're having these botched moves and missed timing in the women's division. So yeah, not a good match. You have anything to say about this one, Kay?
Honestly, no. You have said, there are so few, high points that all the ones you've mentioned are what I had written down. It was disappointing. They have gotten into a trend lately with somewhat disappointing women's matches on their shows, and I want them to move away from that, because I feel like they were in that rut for a while when I first started watching AEW, and they were able to get out of it, and I don't want to see them sink back into it. And they have so many talented women, and if you're only featuring 2 of them on each show, make it 2 that can wrestle.
Yeah.
And wrestle well with each other. I'm not saying Taya Valkyrie can't have a good match, but she and Britt Baker didn't have a good match. And so, if they can't have a good...
Britt Baker's good.
And if they can't have a good match together, put them with someone they can have a good match with.
Right.
It's not like you have many women's storylines going that are boxing you into these matchups. You have nothing going. Put them with whoever you want. That's a benefit to your lazy booking.
The only thing you have going... Exactly. The only thing you have going is the Outcasts versus Homegrown. And even that isn't really going on because you're not putting them on TV.
Yeah.
So you got the world champion, Toni Storm, who's wasn't on TV this episode.
And the last time she was on TV, she wrestled Taya Valkyrie, who's not a homegrown talent. So it didn't fit the one story that you are telling.
Right. And then you got TBS champion, Chris Statlander, who has been having good matches when she's on TV, but she wasn't on this episode, of course. You got Nyla Rose, who's good, wasn't on this episode. You got Hikaru Shida, who's good, wasn't on this episode, etc. I mean, you got women who are good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I realize you can't feature everyone every match, but stop featuring Taya Valkyrie in every match.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like what they did with Sky Blue for a while. It was like every match, Sky Blue was in it.
Yeah.
Now we're getting the same thing with Taya Valkyrie. I get you're trying to build these women, but making us sick of them by watching not, subpar matches is not the way to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's definitely not the way to build a women's division. That's respectable.
Yeah, and at this point, that's what AEW needs to do. They're so far to the bottom as far as how they've used the women that what they need to build a women's division. They need to rebuild a women's division because they have 2 champions, they have 1 story going. So you are almost starting from scratch, and then you have 1 women's match per show. So in all that, you are almost starting from scratch. If you're going to put any effort into it, you're starting from scratch. Is the way you need to look at it.
Which is not a bad thing if you look at it. Like, it gives you literally every option in the world moving forward. But you just need to pick one and stick with it for more than 1 week and develop stories. Or rivalries, even. Like, if you don't want a story behind it, even if it's just like these 2 women like to fight each other, like, that's fine. We don't even have that. We have nothing besides the Outcasts.
Yeah. No, I hear you. It's frustrating. I mean, I agree. I'm frustrated with it. As a fan of women's wrestling, I'm frustrated with it. I would love to see the women get featured more. I would love to see them up it to 2 women's matches per show. I don't think that's asking a whole lot.
Yeah. Sigh.
Yeah.
I feel like we're having this conversation a lot about AEW. I feel like a lot of people are having this conversation a lot about AEW, the women. Yeah. It's their weakest point.
I love AEW, but that's their weakest point. Yeah, unfortunately.
Okay, let's move on. Sorry. Well, we'll talk about more women, actually.
Yeah. Nyla Rose tells Hikaru Shida if she wants a shot at Toni Storm, she must go through her. So we got that.
I think she said if you want a shot at Toni Storm at All In, you have to go through me.
Is that what she said?
Yeah, because that's what I felt like was noteworthy, was they mentioned a possible match for All In. It wasn't a match, it was just a possible match.
I remember hearing that. All right, let's get to some matches here. Let's see. Well, first, it's strange. First, we get some little promos, but they don't tell us what the fuck they're talking about.
Correct.
They don't tell us what the match is. So I'm going to tell you, first, I'm going to tell you that on Rampage, they're having a tag team battle royal on Friday, and the winners get a shot at the World Tag Team titles. But what they did is they put 4 promos before even telling you that there is a tag team battle royal, and you had to figure it out with context clues. So I don't know who messed up, but somebody messed up. But we got short little promos from Jay Lethal, Sanjay Dutt, and Satnam Singh, and so I guess Lethal and Singh are the tag team there. We got short promos from Brian Cage and Big Bill. So that tag team is staying together after the blind draw tag team tournament.
Good.
Which leads me to think that Big Bill might be joining the Mogul Embassy. He's not official.
Yeah. Because
he doesn't have a t-shirt. But
in his defense, he also doesn't wear t-shirts.
True. So it's hard to tell.
Yeah.
We then have Ethan Page and Brother Zay. We then have the Hardys also, who are readying themselves for this match.
It's good to see Jeff Hardy back. Sorry to interrupt you. I'm just excited about Jeff Hardy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely. I love Jeff Hardy. I love him forever. Nobody's perfect. I always love Jeff Hardy. People fuck up.
Everyone deserves another chance.
Everyone deserves other chances. Yeah.
We're all human.
Yeah, if people are honestly trying to do good, they deserve the chance to do good. So, I don't want to hear anybody hating on Jeff Hardy. So, Friday on Rampage, there's a tag team battle royal with the 4 teams I mentioned and a bunch of other teams as well. Also on Rampage, Scorpio Sky versus Kip Sabian. Haven't seen him in a while.
I know, I'm so excited to see him back.
Also, the Kingdom, Ring of Honor folks are in action.
Yeah.
And on Rampage, we're going to see Hikaru Shida versus Nyla Rose.
This Rampage has got me pumped up.
Yeah, that Rampage sounds pretty damn good.
Yeah.
I tell you all the time on this show, watch Rampage, people. It's good.
Yeah.
They cram wrestling into that hour.
Mm-hmm.
They do a great job of cramming wrestling into that hour. It's very entertaining, and you get good to very good matches on it usually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they don't do anything that's must see. It seems like they run most of their angles through Collision and Dynamite, but still, it's worth watching because it's a fun show. So if you enjoy it, if you enjoy wrestling,
if you enjoy fun,
if you enjoy wrestling, give it a try. I'm telling you, it's a fun show. I don't understand why the ratings are so low.
Because it's a Friday night.
It's Friday night. It doesn't have the big stars, but it's a good show. It's a good show. I would expect the ratings to be higher than they are. All right, and we have some matches for Collision this week. Big match. World Tag Team Champions FTR defending their belts against the World Champion MJF and Adam Cole, the winners of the Blind Draw Tag Team Tournament. Should be a very interesting match.
Mm-hmm.
Also, we have a ladder match. Andrade El Idolo versus Buddy Matthews, 1/3 of the World Trios Champions, the House of Black. Of course, Andrade's mask will be suspended above the ring. We have another match I'm looking forward to, a trios match. AAA Mega Champion El Hijo del Vikingo teams up with Darius Martin and Action Andretti, and they take on Juice Robinson and the Guns of Bullet Club Gold. And if you don't know, El Hijo del Vikingo is probably my favorite wrestler who is wrestling right now. He's awesome. If you've not seen him, holy fuck. Look him up. El Hijo del Vikingo. EL space HIJO space DEL space Viking with an O at the end. El Hijo del Vikingo. Look him up.
In case you can't tell, he really wants you to look him up.
If you don't know, I really do want you to look him up if you don't know. Up next, we have a short promo from Buddy Murphy. He says that he's going to burn Andrade's mask if Andrade can't win it from him. So those pretty high stakes. We have one more match on Collision. And no, I'm sorry. No, we don't. But yeah, so Collision is looking pretty damn good. World Tag Team title match, a ladder match, and a big trios match. Looking good so far. Mm-hmm. I want to go back real quick before we get to the main event of Dynamite. I want to go back and talk about the FTW champion Jack Perry and his heel turn.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to talk about him and ask, what do you think about it? Is it working? Is he a good heel?
Yes.
I think you've told me everything I need.
Well, I was going to say yes and no.
Okay.
He's a good cowardly heel. So
did you like his promo tonight about the FTW title and talking about how ECW was second rate? Did you like this?
No, but in this promo's defense, I almost never like Jack Perry's promos, and this one was one of the least terrible that he has done. So I feel like he's improving.
Okay.
I don't like it when I see a promo and the person who's doing the promo looks like they don't believe what they're saying.
Right.
And Jack Perry, about halfway through, lost his fire.
Yeah, exactly.
And I did not believe anything he was saying.
Right.
Like, he just looked like a liar. you know, like,
oh, yeah.
like no confidence in the words that are coming out of his mouth. And so I have a problem with that. I think they need to change his music to something that has, like, some kind of bite. Like, if you want to keep that song, there's, like, 1,000 mixes of that song because it's in public domain. Like find a mix,
What are they
pay
doing?
a little money.
Beethoven. What are they doing?
But, I mean, I'm fine with Beethoven.
No.
But not straight
Listen,
symphony Beethoven.
I love classical music. I love it. But what are they doing with Beethoven as Jack Perry's music?
But you've heard mixes of that I feel like would work. Like techno mixes or like metal mixes of that song. You know, I mean, like there's other versions of the same song that if you have your heart set on Beethoven for some unknown reason, you can have it just not straight like that. Like, it's just not effective. And then he's still got black screens. He doesn't have anything on his screen when he comes out. You know, at least I didn't notice it. Did you notice anything this week?
No, I didn't notice anything.
Yeah, that's because I think they were still black screens. So I feel like this heel turn was a good idea. I feel like the execution has not been great. I'm hoping that whatever is going to happen with Jerry Lynn can add some fire to it. But yeah, he needs shorter promos because he can be good for like little bursts. Mm-hmm. But when you let him talk for too long, he loses it.
Yeah.
Like it's like he psychs himself up before he starts and then gets out there and is like using all of his psych up power, and then it runs out and then he's like, oh, like nervous or awkward, you know?
Yeah, I agree. That's a very good take on it. I got nothing else to say. I think you nailed it.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Yeah, I think you nailed it. Well, I was gonna reply, but I don't think I got nothing else to say to it.
All right. I do like that he has that belt.
The FTW belt?
Yeah.
Why?
Because he needed a belt, I think, to help solidify this heel turn and make him seem like a force. And by getting the undefeated Hooks belt, I think was a good way to do that. And he cheated to win it. And he cheated numerous times in the match. So I feel like wrestling-wise, his heel turn has been better than promo-wise. Mm-hmm. We ready for the main event?
No.
No. Oh, okay.
So one last thing.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the women.
Okay.
So we've got two things going on. We talked a little bit a minute ago about the women, but let's talk a little more about the women. We got two things going on. By things, I mean storylines. We've got the Outcasts, world champion Toni Storm. They've got the world title belt. You got Toni Storm with Saraya and Ruby Soho versus the Homegrowns. Mm-hmm. And then the other angle we've got, which is barely a storyline, is whatever Nyla Rose and Hikaru Shida are whatever.
But that's still part of the Outcast storyline because it's two Homegrowns fighting over who's going to be the number one contender to go against the Outcasts.
Is it?
I mean,
I'm not counting it as the same thing. No,
it's
not the same. Because they got their own little issue, I guess, with each other. It doesn't have much to do with the Outcasts.
Oh, okay.
So what can we do with the women? What's the first step to improving?
I think that if you have a heel faction that is going against the homegrown women, and you have not clearly defined who the homegrown women are, that is problem number one. So I think the first thing they should do is create a face faction to go against their heel faction, and they have not done that. So we had Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter sort of going against them, and then Jamie got hurt, and then nothing has happened since then as far as unification.
Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter, and didn't we have some...
Well, we had people who would do the run-ins.
Yeah.
So if you're counting them as members of a faction, we've never seen them together. And it wasn't the same people running in every week.
Right.
So you need...
Sky Blue was a little...
Sky Blue was there a little. Willow was there a little. Riho was there a little.
Right, Riho.
So but I mean, like, it's this scattering of women. If you have a united front that you're fighting against, you need to be a united front in order to fight them. And they are not.
So what did you do? Britt Baker.
Britt Baker. I have Britt Baker as the leader because I feel like she's the best on the mic.
Britt Baker. Willow.
I would put Sky Blue in it just because she's fought against them so much.
Hikaru
Shida.
Yeah.
And then you have
four. And then you got Nyla Rose, not in that group, but there as a heel.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got your 3 Outcast heels.
Yeah.
That's what we're working with, right?
Yeah, and I mean, if they need to add another Outcast member, I think your suggestion of Athena from Ring of Honor is great. And I don't think you have to strip her belt from her, but I think bring another women's champion to your Outcast side so you can have 4 women against 4 women.
Yeah. No, I think definitely bring in Athena. It's time. It's needed.
Yeah.
Bring in Athena from Ring of Honor. Mm-hmm. I think she'll be happy to be there.
Yeah.
I don't think she'll mind working twice a week.
Yeah.
Put her on Dynamite, put her on Collision. It'll be easier to work Collision. Well, she would have to wrestle twice in one night, though.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's tough. 2 matches in one. Whatever.
Well, they could do promos on Ring of Honor and some of the matches on Dynamite if they want to.
Or she could wrestle 1 week on Ring of Honor, 1 week on Collision.
Yeah.
1 week she does a promo, 1 week she does a match, and swap it back and forth.
Yeah, she's usually on Ring of Honor every week, so I think.
Yeah. No, but I'm saying she can do a promo.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's true.
She can still be on it, but promo match. You swap them back and forth.
I see what you're saying.
So she can be on both shows, but you swap what she's doing.
And she'd be there to do the promo, because she's already in that same location for the match. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. And
you bring in Athena as the 4th Outcast.
But, I mean, right now it's these
Outcasts
would be
great.
Fighting against a faceless group,
Yeah.
So I feel like that's the most important thing. Even if
give them, you call them, what do you call them? The home...
I think homegrown is fine.
Homegrown?
Yeah. You think it sounds too much like tomatoes?
It would make for a lot of neat t-shirts.
Yeah.
You could be very suggestive with homegrown,
Yeah.
Homegrown. Homegrown sounds good, I guess. Let's go with that.
Yeah.
So we got the 4 heels, the Outcast, now with Athena. We got the 4 faces. Do we start letting Athena defend her Ring of Honor belt on AEW or no?
I don't see why that would be a problem.
Right.
Like, I don't think she should defend it every week on AEW or even every other week.
So now we got 3 women's belts on AEW?
I mean, I'm talking like once every 3 months she defends it on AEW. It's not an AEW belt,
Yeah. So no. It's basically no.
Yeah. I think that she and Willow could have a rematch at one point.
But we're saying basically no.
Basically
she does not defend it on AEW.
Correct. Basically no.
It's too many belts.
That's too many belts.
For how many women they have.
Yeah.
Okay.
Especially if we're doing it on Collision, because Chris Statlander has been primarily on Collision with her title,
Yeah. Okay, so we got the homegrown. We got the Outcasts. We got Nyla Rose on an island doing her own thing.
Mm-hmm.
So we keep the TBS title or get rid of it?
No, I think we need a mid-card title.
Really? For how many women there are?
I think they need to get more women. After this fantasy booking, I want more women.
Okay, more women.
Yeah.
Where? From where? Japan?
Japan.
Okay.
Mexico.
In Mexico, yeah. Makes sense. So, who battles Toni Storm first? What's your big feud you do first?
I want Hikaru Shida to wrestle Toni Storm so badly it hurts me inside.
Hikaru Shida and Toni Storm.
Yes, I want to see that. I wanted to see a series of matches between them.
How about this? What if now she's been heavily featured in Collision ads, but she has not actually returned.
My Thunder Rosa.
What if Thunder Rosa returns? Would you do Toni Storm versus Thunder Rosa?
Yes.
Instead of Shida.
I would do Shida first because they're already talking about it.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't want to just abruptly end that story or possible story. But then Thunder Rosa, yes. Yeah.
And then who would you first have challenging Statlander for the TBS?
Well, we don't have a ton of women
Yeah,
left.
but no, so...
I think Jade Cargill coming back and
we didn't even
challenging.
talk about Jade Cargill, yeah.
I think her coming back and trying to get her belt back makes sense.
Okay, yeah, definitely. And then Ring of Honor, Athena do her thing against Ring of Honor ladies. And you got Trisha Dora.
Yes, who is now part of the infantry.
You can bring in.
I love her.
And do things. Could be a heel. Yeah. Could be a face or a heel. What is she? With the infantry. Is she a heel?
I don't remember.
We'll say she's a heel.
Yeah, I think she's a heel.
Okay.
But she's so good. It's hard for
good people to be... So
your
first feuds for belts would be Toni Storm versus Hikaru Shida. Have Shida beat Nyla Rose. Yeah.
Yeah.
And...
have Toni Storm beat Shida.
And Chris Statlander versus Jade Cargill.
Yeah.
And have Statlander win.
I actually don't care who wins that. I don't care about the TBS belt.
Okay.
They gotta work to make me care about that belt because I don't.
Well, no, your fantasy booking, you gotta work to make you. Okay, and real quick, just to end this, because I'm just, I just wanted to hear your opinions and kind of, like I said, regrow the women's division. The homegrown versus the outcasts. Mm-hmm. Do we end it sooner or later? Do we ramp it up some?
I think, definitely. I mean, right now it's nothing.
Yeah.
So yes, you have to ramp it up and then eventual end.
Do a blood and guts, you think?
Blood and guts would be awesome.
You think that many women are going to be willing to, bleed? How many women are going to bleed?
I think that many women would bleed.
How many, you think?
I don't know.
And who?
Well, Britt Baker, we know, will bleed.
Will bleed, yeah.
Thunder Rosa, we know, will bleed. We got 2. I bet Ruby Soho would bleed.
Yeah. Bet.
So we got 3.
Maybe Athena. So 4. That's enough. Yeah. That's enough blood. Okay. So maybe do Outcast versus...
But I want this blood and guts to be way far away from the men's blood and guts. Like exactly 6 months apart, even as far as possible away from this blood. Yeah,
I get it. But and end it there in the feud there. See, we're talking. I mean, and see what we're talking about, and we're talking what two women's matches per show, or should keep it at 1.
I would prefer 2. It doesn't have to be 2 every week, but even 2 every other week, it would be better.
I mean, it's 2 per Dynamite and 2 per Collision?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or at least a lengthy promo and a match. A lengthy match, none of these squash matches that I freaking hate.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to build a story and build a division and you're not seeing people for weeks, it's never going to work.
I think 2 matches per Dynamite, 2 matches per Collision.
Yeah.
Period. You build it, and Toni Storm versus Shida would fucking rock. Mm-hmm. And Statlander versus Cargill would rock, I think. And then you got Outcast versus Homegrown. You'd actually build stuff, and essentially you're doing WWE versus AEW, in a way. That's what you're doing.
What you're
so
doing,
ramp the shit up, do it,
Yeah.
ramp it up, and do it, and then we finish it in blood and guts, and we're seeing the women more, 2 matches per show. What we're talking about would totally revitalize the women's division. So let's do it, right?
Yeah.
Let's fucking do it, Tony Khan. All right, let's get to the main event.
Okay.
Main event this week. Best Friends versus the Lucha Brothers with Alex Abrahantes versus Jon Moxley and Ring of Honor World Champion Claudio Castagnoli with Wheeler Yuta. All right, triple threat match. A lot going on here. Rey Fenix with a back kick on a charging Claudio Castagnoli. Claudio with a pop-up European uppercut on Phoenix, meaning he popped Phoenix up in the air, European uppercutted him. Covered him after that for 2. Trent Beretta attempts a tope suicida, but Claudio meets him with a European uppercut on the outside. A spike pile driver by the Blackpool Combat Club on Trent. They go for the win there. They get a 2 count. Here, Claudio was climbing the ropes against Trent. He and Trent were on the ropes. Claudio fell and hit his thigh right on the rope. It looked painful.
Yeah, it did.
He did not. This was not a planned thing. It was planned for him to fall off, but not to fall off the way he did. And he hit his thigh right on the top rope. Well, and then Trent came off with a flying drop kick on Claudio. Penta with 2 sling blades, and then hits a backstabber on Chuck Taylor. Covers him for a 2 count. Ray Phoenix with a flying crossbody splash. Hits both BCC members. Best Friends get simultaneous pile drivers on the Lucha Brothers. A cover for a 2 count. Penta hits Made in Japan on Trent. BCC break up the pin at 2. Cesaro has Trent Beretta set up for a Ricola bomb.
You mean Claudio?
Oh, I put Cesaro. I wrote Cesaro. Claudio has Trent Beretta set up for a Ricola bomb. Orange Cassidy comes down. And Orange on the outside. Orange punches Wheeler Yuta. Inside the ring, Penta hits the Fear Factor, his package pile driver, hits it on Trent Beretta, covers him for the 1, 2, and 3. And the Lucha Brothers get the win in this wild match. A lot of fun. Give it 4 bones out of 5. It was very close to being 4.5, but I give it 4 bones out of 5. Just wasn't quite long enough for me to give it 4.5, or focused enough. Really, I guess. You know, it was good. It was very good though. You know what? Fuck that. I'm giving it 4.5. I'm giving it 4.5 bones. Yeah, 4.5 bones out of 5. But the match of the night, make no mistake, was Orange Cassidy defeating AR Fox. That was the match of the night.
How many bones did that get?
4.5.
Okay, they both got 4.5.
So after the match, there's a melee. Everyone's fighting. Pretty much the last thing we see, Orange Cassidy, Orange punches the Ring of Honor champ, Claudio Castagnoli, and they go off the air. There's a wild finish there. But before they go off the air, they tell us that next week on the 200th episode of AEW Dynamite, it's crazy to think there's been 200 episodes. Mm-hmm. I've seen every one of them, too. Next week, there's an Anything Goes triple threat match between 3 AEW originals. Penta El Cierro Miedo versus Jon Moxley of the Blackpool Combat Club versus Trent Beretta. So, should be a good one.
Does originals just mean guys that were there from the start?
Yes.
I didn't realize Moxley was there from the start.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think he was on there. Oh, wait. No, he wasn't.
He wasn't.
I thought they called them originals, though. But no, he wasn't there at the start. No. He wasn't there at the start. That's true. But I think they called... I swear on the show they called them originals. I could be wrong.
I mean, they might have, but he's not.
Wrong. But no, he's not.
Yeah.
He's not. He's been there for a while, but not since the start, no. Trent and Penta have, though. But... So what did you think of the show overall?
I thought it was great.
Yeah?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I knew that... Looking at the card, I was worried about the women's match being the match that brought the show down. And it did. Everything else on the show, I feel like, was fantastic. A few too many interviews.
You know what? In our women's match discussion, you know who we didn't include?
Taya Valkyrie.
Taya Valkyrie.
Yeah. Well, we didn't name all the women they had. We didn't name Riho either. Or Anna JAS. Or
Julia Hart.
Or Julia. Oh, yeah, I forgot about her. Or Julia Hart. Or Ty Mello.
True. Well, Ty Mello's out.
Pregnant, yeah.
She's out right now.
Yeah, and she'll be out for a while.
Riho is gone.
Is she gone?
Yeah, I think so. Isn't she in Japan or something?
I had not heard that, but that doesn't mean it's not true.
Oh, I thought she's away. I thought she's gone.
Like forever, or just
I don't know about forever, but
okay.
you can't say forever in wrestling. But I think she's in Japan.
You mean she is no longer All Elite? Like they didn't renew her contract?
I don't know. I just think she's in Japan. That's all I know.
Okay, I gotcha.
God damn! What are you, the police?
Yeah, I'm
Jesus
the police.
Christ!
Give me more information. What was your question?
I don't even know anymore.
Oh, it was what I thought of the show.
Jeez,
Overall, the show was really good.
lady.
Women's match disappointing.
Yeah.
A few too many promos that I feel like time could have been given to matches that needed more time.
A few too many promos. Not enough women's stuff. And I felt, the performers, obviously, it's AEW, they gave their all. Mm-hmm. I'm not questioning that at all. But the show felt a little directionless. It didn't feel like we're going anywhere. Like we have All In. It didn't feel like we're going towards that. It didn't feel like we're going towards anything. It just kind of felt like just a wrestling show. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
It does, but I don't know if I agree with you. I feel like this show added a lot of fuel to the fire of several feuds that we have going. We got a new member of a faction.
Yeah.
We got a title shot for Adam Cole eventually against MJF, which is still my eyebrows are off my forehead.
That's
They're raised
big
so
news.
high saying
That's
that.
big news.
Yeah.
But with no date or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
that's big news coming out of it.
Yeah.
But I just kind of felt, like I said, just felt a little directionless. We had this whole show. We didn't book any matches. Again, I'll say it one last time. We didn't book anything for All In.
Well, you have a maybe Hikaru Shida versus Tony Storm at All In.
That doesn't count.
Okay.
Maybe it doesn't count.
Okay.
Nothing booked for All In. Did they even mention All In?
Other than that mention? I don't think so.
Weird. It's coming up. That's where we're headed now.
Yeah.
And they didn't even mention it. And they sold 80,000 fucking tickets to the thing.
I think they're gonna
And they didn't say a word about it.
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. They're focused on the 200th episode of Dynamite at the moment.
I
Folks,
don't know. I don't understand.
If you could only see the look of disgust on Ace's face about the lack of all-in matches.
I don't understand.
I feel like his voice can't quite convey it. It'll happen. We got Rampage, we got Collision, 200th episode of Dynamite. I think by the 200th episode of Dynamite, we will know at least 2 matches.
I bet we don't.
Maybe not. I guess this is the same person who announced 4 matches the day before the pay-per-view for Ring of Honor, so maybe not, but I feel like he has more people advising him for Dynamite and Collision, though, that work with him on those shows. So maybe someone will be like, hey, we got this giant pay-per-view that's going to be our pay-per-view of the lifetime. So do we want to put some matches together for it? I think that'll happen.
It needs to. It's
looking less and less.
It was a good show. I don't mean to be negative. It was a good show. It was a good episode.
Yes.
I don't mean to be negative, because it was a good episode. That's my only complaint, is that, like I said, it felt a little like we're not headed towards anything.
Well, it's your only other complaint. Your other complaint was the women's match.
Yeah, that's my constant complaint with AEW is lack of women's wrestling. And like I said, it just felt a little directionless.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, we're not headed towards anything, like I've said. But that's fine.
So when can folks hear from us next?
Well, folks, you can next hear from us.
Sunday.
What day is it? Yeah, Sunday. We'll do our Collision report. We always do Collision on Sunday, Dynamite on Thursdays, and then we'll do special shows and pay-per-views and all that. But the weekly shows are Collision on Sunday and Dynamite on Thursday.
And they can hear from us tonight on Last Week in Wrestling at 7 p.m. live on YouTube.
Yep, live on YouTube. Last Week in Wrestling, 7 p.m. We're going to be talking some interesting topics on pro wrestling, so check us out. Get in, log in, get in the chat, talk to us, ask us some questions, make some comments. We'll try and reply, stuff like that. Wherever you listen to podcasts, make sure you subscribe to us so you don't miss any episodes. And, check us out on YouTube. We've got videos on there. Just finished my AEW trading card collection, so we got a video on there about that. I reviewed the new AEW video game, Fight Forever. That's on there. We've got other stuff on there as well, with more videos to come. We're going to start doing more YouTube content. And, and make sure wherever you listen to podcasts, make sure to rate us. Give us 5 bones. Give us 5 stars. Give us 5 jellyfish. Whatever they'll let you give us. 5, 10, whatever. Give us the most. Because that'll get us more fans, and then we can all talk to each other about wrestling, and it'll be just the best. So, thanks very much. Thanks for listening. And as Mick Foley would say, have a nice day. Bye.